This is Sneaker Gears. My name is Levi, and welcome to performance review and comparison on one of the first environmentally friendly high performance basketball shoes, and that's the Nike Cosmic Unity. If you're new to the channel, thank you for joining us. Hopefully I can help you guys here today on what performance kicks you want to get next. And we're going to be doing a comparison, but also just a full review. We have quite a few others, full-length Zoom Strobel shoes like the Kd12, Kd13, as well as one of my shoes of the year 2 years ago, the Zoom Universe. And this one didn't get much love. This was fantastic, but we're going to be comparing it all to the accumulation of one of the better all-around basketball shoes you can buy, and that's the Cosmic Unity. So not to give too much away, guys, if you can, please subscribe down below, give the video a thumbs up, and put in the comments what you guys think or what other comparisons you want me to put this up against. But the first thing that's going to separate this from any of the full-length Zoom options out there, one, this is full-length Zoom Strobel. So it's a little bit different than what we have in the full-length Zoom on the LeBron 18. Second, this actually has, since the Kd12, and Nike hasn't done it since, they put this window on the bottom. So it definitely feels better, unique, and has its own place in the lineup, even with the Kd14 and all the other comparisons. So as always, we like to start with the fit, so let's jump into that. All right, so if you were a fan of the Kd12's cushion, which a lot of people are, this is Hall of Fame status cushion. Because of the window here and the holes in the midsole, this just gave it such a nice, bouncy, but close to the court feel. It was awesome, but it wasn't wide foot friendly. I did a 13 on that, and it was still the height. A lot of folks, if you had a wide toe box or a wide midfoot, it just didn't work. Well, guys, we finally have one. The Cosmic Unity has that similar window cutout where that Zoom is allowed to flex and reflex, so it actually can rebound with you. So it still plays very close to the court, but you still get some of that bounciness. And I'll go more into the cushion later, but the fit, this knit upper, I did a 12.5, and the fit is pretty much perfect. So maybe you still want to go up half a size if you have a wide foot, because it has these kind of foam pads sticking out on both the toe box and the midfoot. This is something that, again, my toe fits literally right here. Like, I have that finger space apart, and that 12.5 is money. Generally, I am a 12 wide, so even as a half size up, this fits really just beautifully. The knit does take a little bit of a break in. This is definitely a thicker woven material. So I know they say it's fly knit, but I mean, this thing's like a heavy duty sweater, and we'll get into how that affects support. But what's nice about this is you do have a traditional tongue. So if you have a high instep, or if you have a little bit thicker of a foot, as opposed to the Kd13 and the Kd12, you have a lot more volume here all around the foot, from the toe box to the midfoot. So this is a much more accommodating shoe. Now, the big, I guess, negative is going to be, one, it's a low top. That's not a negative, that's cool, but it's something you do want to keep in mind, because every other Zoom Strobel we've had in the KD line in the Zoom universe has been a mid or high top. So a low top I actually prefer. So that works, but just keep that in mind. Also, you have plenty of space if you're going to be wearing this with any kind of ankle brace or ankle protection, so you have some room there. One thing I do want to point out though is the lockdown. This is not quite that aggressive as far as pulling your foot down into the heel cup. On my left foot, I get a perfect fit. And it sucks that generally foot to foot, you actually are going to have slightly different sizes. Most people have a slightly bigger or smaller foot left to right, even if it's by millimeter. Some people, it's more drastic than that. Same thing with the heel, the midfoot, the width. You're going to have slightly different needs left to right. On my right foot, which is the shoe right here, I always felt like I couldn't quite get it tight enough. So I did remedy that by just wearing thicker socks, and for the most part, it felt good. I had no issues. So keep that in mind. I know I have a few of my subscribers who said, hey, they have thinner ankles or they have a narrow heel. So if you have a wide foot and narrow heel, it makes a difference to ensure you have a solid lockdown and it actually pulls you back into the heel cup. So something to keep in mind, if you have a wide foot, that's great. But if you have a narrow or slender ankle, potentially it may be some issues. Now, again, I did do a 12.5. Maybe if I did a 12 and that was super snug, and I don't know if I would do it, but if you're a normal footer and you also have thinner feet or normal feet, go true to size and maybe that won't be an issue. But just a heads up. But the materials themselves feel great, feel plush, a little bit of break-in. I would say probably by my end of my second run, this started to work out. So that's maybe 4 to 6 hours of play. So it doesn't take a lot of break-in. And then even that, I walked in these my first day just because I was super excited. And man, I shouldn't even say second play because this was comfortable walking around. When I played, still felt a little snug, but even walking around casually, this is just an awesome, awesome shoe. They have some decent colorways coming out. So even if you're not getting this to hoop, there's a lot of qualities on this that make it just a really good all-around shoe. All right, down to the support. All right, this is a big step up from what we got in the KD line. This is definitely more of a team shoe and big man shoe, and actually reminds me of a lot of the Zoom Universe. Now, the Zoom Universe was able to give us that full-length Zoom Strobel, but this knit, the strength of this, and it's not even knit, feels like this plastic. It's kind of crazy looking, and this giant heel cup, the whole back half of this shoe. And again, this was made for players who had a little bit more of a disability, where you can put it down like that, has a magnet, slide your foot in, pops back up, and it goes to the back. So this whole heel section is super rigid. Tons of support on this. That took some break-in as well, just because I had to do a 12.5 that, and it fit pretty good, but wasn't quite right. This fit even better. This has pretty much a giant heel cup. This thing it's soft enough where you don't feel restricted, but it's way less hard than that. You have this giant outriggers essentially, or just lateral pieces that you really feel contained on any movement. That lockdown, as far as the support, still does a good job. It didn't hinder me. I never felt like I was not contained. And then this is a completely flat shoe. So as far as support, this is leaps and bounds better than what we're getting from the KD line. Way better than the Kd12. And I'll talk about the cushion, the comparison on that. Similar to the Kd13, but actually I think this is even better, but it's close. Kd13 support actually surprised me, and I'll grab that here. So the Kd13, you don't have as robust of an upper, but because you have that lateral pieces here, your foot actually sits more in the midsole, just slightly. So on lateral movements, man, I don't want to give away the cushion and traction, but the traction on this and the cushion on this allow it to feel a little bit more contained on this. And we're splitting hairs here. This is still really good, but because if you're a more powerful or bigger player, these materials are not nearly as robust. You feel like your foot is trying to break out of this, even though it doesn't. This is awesome. So, but I still felt more encouraged in this one. When I saw like Anthony Davis playing in this last year, I'm like, dude, how is this giant player hooping in these low tops? And yeah, this has plenty of support. You have your lateral support covered. You have your flat bottom where you feel stable, and you have your lockdown where you feel pulled into the heel cup. This is one of the best supportive full-length Zoom Strobel setups we have, if not the best. Now it's down to the cushion setup. These windows right here, this is going to be the most similar setup to the Kd12. This was an awesome balance, and this is one of the best balance shoes out there. Now, I know I did talk about the Curry 8 being the most all-around shoe, and I don't mean that on the basketball court. The Curry 8 is the best all-around shoe for anything, for life. So with lifting, jogging, I'm talking about outside the court. Specifically on the basketball court, this is a really nice balance where you are close to the court. You have a good amount of impact protection and cushion. You have just enough bounce. It is a really, really nice setup. And I actually augmented this setup by taking cues from what we're getting on the GT line, the greater than line from Nike. And I replaced the insole with a React insole. That's what we get on the BB NXT. So if you guys want to get the BB NXT, and I've seen those for like 70 bucks, you can actually get a full React insole and replace it from this insole. Now, it just depends what your note goals are. That's going to give you a little bit more of a max cushion setup. And forgive me as I take this insole out, they always stick and they take a while. But that allowed this to play more like the Kd13 and close to the Kd14, not quite, where if you want a max cushion setup. The regular insole, and I wanted to show you guys this, is like this styrofoam setup that is way more firm. Doesn't provide really any cushion, but the whole point of this is to help you feel closer to the zoom and to mold to your foot for, again, more support. So it's kind of nice. I always love when a shoe can do multiple things. So if you have something like this, you can swap those insoles and create something that's maybe more for if you're just doing a bunch of runs that day, or if you're hooping and you're playing games, you want to be closer to the court. But this is probably one of the best full-length zoom Strobel setups for any kind of player. If you're telling me you're a fast, quick guard, if you're telling me you're a big, powerful center, again, with the caveat of that low top, as long as you're comfortable with that, this cushion setup is really, really good and just super balanced. I wouldn't put it as a max cushion. I wouldn't put it as a just court feel. This is one of the top, just all around impact protection, bouncy, close to the court, fast playing midsoles and cushion setups you can get in the market. Now down to the traction. This is using just a traditional herringbone. So, or not even, kind of a zigzag. And ultimately I thought it was gonna be amazing. And it's just good. It's not bad at all, not bad at all. The problem is, if you're comparing this to the Kd13, Kd13 is legit Hall of Fame. That is one of the best traction setups ever. The Kd14, that's using the LeBron 16 traction. It's one of the best traction setups all time, and I'll have a full comparison on those two. When I was comparing this to this setup, those little nubs, and hopefully let's zoom in here, it's like little tiny suction cups and circles, is just short of Hall of Fame. This thing is ridiculously good. And this falls just under that. It's consistent. I never slipped. Had to wipe a few times. It just doesn't bite as hard. Depending on the court you're playing, you may have some minor slippage before it catches. But I will say the saving grace between this shoe and all of those is this is a way harder rubber. This, I believe, can get some use outdoors. Now, I have not played in these outdoors. I don't want to tell you guys like, hey, this is a great outdoor option. No, but this is a hard rubber with spaced out gaps, has plenty of deep grooves, which you would assume is great for dust. Let's see if it focuses there. So, I mean, it's a good traction setup, but compared to how good the cushion is, and then because the rest of the Nike lineup is really that phenomenal, this was just a little bit of a letdown. Now, I don't want to show that as a negative, because compared to this is lighter. Compared to this is actually way fluid, more traction. The foam they use in this carrier just feels so much nicer than this. Felt way more firm, even though it's the same Zoom Strobel, and this did not quite have the flex and fluidity. Compared to the Kd13, it's wider, has better support, and way better traction. This, or Kd12, this supersedes the Kd12. So for all my hoopers out there, and I know a few of you guys have like 3 or 4 pairs of the Kd12s, jump on this. You're gonna love it. Compared to the Kd13 and 14, like I said, this traction setup is not as max cushion as those. This is more balanced, but this traction setup is just a step below that. If you're getting this, I don't think you'll be disappointed. But if you are a fast playing guard, if you're saying, hey Levi, I want the best traction, just know this is gonna be one step below that, and I still can give it high regard. Right. So how does the Cosmic Unity stack up? How have I been using it? Honestly, this is one that just I know I can always enjoy. This has more cushion than something like your PG5, than pretty much all of your Under Armour stuff. This is a very balanced setup, like some of your Boost Light Strike setups from Adidas, from your Pro Boost to your Next Level Super Natural, where this is also lighter than those. This has a nice fluidity to it as far as it's still flexible. This has the support of all those while still being a low top, and this just fits me so much better. I think the closest shoe to this might be, say, the Adidas Pro Boost. From Nike's own lineup, this is something that's way more cushioned than the Kyrie, with, again, about the same level of traction, maybe a step below, but very close. But again, you're getting that low top, you're getting that support, and you're getting that full length zoom, not just the forefoot like in the Kyrie. Going through the rest of the lineup, this is actually a really nice balance, and this really got my head scratching, because between this and the greater than line, I do have the GT cut on its way in, so I'll have a review on those as soon as I can. And you have the greater than cut, run, and jump. It really begs the question, where do the signature lineup shoes fall in place? Because if you have shoes that are this good, that are really just team shoes, it really takes down a notch. Why are you spending your money on a signature shoe unless you really enjoy that player? Now, this is the same price at $150 as your Kd14. Your Kd13 is going to be available at more of a discount, especially right now, the Kd14 already being out. I've also seen this at 20-25% off depending on the colorway. So between these two, if we're taking a look at the Kd13 and Cosmic, the Kd13 has way better traction. That traction pattern is boss. That forefoot zoom really does make a difference, where it is more of a max cushion setup, but the heel to toe transition is really similar. It just feels very fluid. This being a high top, you just feel like it's encasing you more, even though this just has more lateral stability. This feels more stable. This doesn't have that rounded edges like this does. But I will say that forefoot cushion, I did have a little bit of a hot spot by comparison. Never noticed it before, and I played in these a lot, but it is something that because you have so much more cushion, you don't feel slightly as fast as you can in this one. But overall, we're nitpicking. These are two great shoes. If these were the exact same price, if you want more cushion, go with this. And if you want the best traction, go with this. If you want more support, you want to have a little more court feel, something a little more balanced, and something that's way more durable from the upper to the rubber outsole, where you can play in this off court, on court, walk around in it casually. This is going to have more value. So for the same price, I think I'm leaning more towards going with the Cosmic Unity for majority of people, because even if you want more cushion, I don't think you're going to be let down by this. And even if you want way better traction, this does have that. This traction is still really good. It's not a negative. So this does have some high points, guys. If you're looking to save money, this generally, I think, is available cheaper, the Kd13. Hopefully that breaks it down for you, but you know what you're getting in the Cosmic Unity. And the reason I didn't have the Kd14 here is because that, I feel, is a totally different kind of shoe. I may have this on that review, but I didn't want to bring that in with this. Same thing like with the LeBron 18. That's a full max cushion and very different kind of shoe than what this is. But again, we may be seeing this Cosmic Unity again, and this may be creeping up there with some of the best shoes of the year. Guys, girls, if you liked that video, if it helped you out in any way, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing down below. Hit the little ring bell notifications if you can, so you can know when all the new videos come out. And as always, if you guys have any comments, put them down below. I do try to respond to everybody. Guys, I really appreciate you. This is Levi with Sneaker Gears. We do have our swag just coming out, so you will be seeing me in some of the new Sneaker Gears shirt. And our first shirt that we have coming out is a Chicago shirt. So if you got love for Chicago, it is a Chicago-based Sneaker Gears logo. I will be having logos that give respect and honor to all my subscribers and fans out there. So be on the lookout for some new designs. I'll be wearing them, and you guys can have an opportunity to support the channel and rock some Sneaker Gears swag. So guys, really appreciate you. This is Levi Sneaker Gears, and I will come at you later.